my little presentation. Okay, share screen.
Do you have like slides?
Yeah, I have 3 slides.
Oh, the PowerPoint.
So
That's amazing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the very first Dream Phone, which is a chat between all the different members of the team. So all the kind of Dream team members who are available to join us. So recently I did a video about Give Me Strength, which is really cool. But I thought what would be rad is rather than just me sharing what I'm into, we get everyone sharing what they're into. So yeah, we can just like, see each other's like inspirations and what people are reading, watching, playing. So as you might know from past videos, I'm Llaura. I'm writer and director at Dreamfeel, and I am surrounded by 4 other lovely people.
Hi, I'm Eve. I'm a writer and producer for Dreamfeel, and yeah, very happy to be here to hear what everyone else has to talk about, share my stuff.
Hi, I'm Brie. I do art stuff for Dreamfeel, miscellaneous, and other.
I'm Liadh. I'm an artist at Dreamfeel, and I was lead artist on If Found. I draw on paper. I don't know. I do like kind of all sorts of art. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
And then we got, last but not least, our video editor extraordinaire, Alex.
Hey everybody, happy to be here.
Okay, cool. So like the format of this is basically each of us are going to talk for like 5 minutes or so about like different things. So I'm going to go first. Okay, so this is Voice of the Killer by Garment District. Garment District made all the art, writing, gameplay, and then the music was done by Tommy Tone. What's kind of like jumps at you straight away when you play this game is the hand-drawn feel of it, which is really nice. It's all kind of chunky MS Paint, big kind of thick lines and everything, and it has like a real handmade feel. And then it has kind of like what we did a little bit in If Found, like everything is kind of animated but like 2 or 3 frames just to make it feel like it's alive. This is the first game in a series of Strange Town games, and they follow this character called BB, who's kind of like your plucky gal in the city. So the way the game plays is you walk around with Waz. It's really simple. And then as you move through environments, the text kind of updates and like brings you into it. But straight away, like again, like everything in the game is like super distinct. Like everything has this like super thick hand-drawn like marker almost feel. And I love like you can see like the colors are outside the lines as well. And then like everything's kind of done just to give like, as quick as possible to like build these worlds and like get on to the next level. And then this camera and the gameplay is all like super simple. It's literally just look towards our heroine. And the writing of the game is like it's very funny. So she works in a call center, and each of the games like kind of follows her with like a different job or a different setting as she kind of tries to navigate life. And life is just kind of weirder and more disturbing than anyone is kind of used to. As we play the game, it's going to become very obvious very quickly that the world is full of lots of murderers. This game was posted on Game Jolt, and this person had no games before, but like I think pretty quickly people kind of realized that this hand-drawn style, and then also the very distinct kind of like voice of the writing, bears a lot of resemblance to The Catamites, who is an Irish game maker who's made stuff like Space Funeral and 50 Short Games. 50 Short Games is like all made with markers and stuff. And like he loves just making stuff that's kind of like, it's like his brain seeping into a video game that is like made without like, like we work on big games sometimes and we're like planning stories and characters. We have like documents and, we have like revisions and all this kind of stuff. Whereas like these games like go like through a process of kind of like creation. And like, of course he's gonna like polish and update things, but it's mostly just like getting it onto the page and like expressing it.
I know it's like really, as you said, like a simple hand-drawn style, but like it's really like excellent design.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the photocopiers, lights and stuff.
Yeah,
like it's really intelligent.
It's like very expressive.
Mm.
And like, like every single like piece of dialogue is just like a little punchline in its own right. This like first game is definitely, it's like a little rougher on the edges as the mechanics were kind of like, being made for the first time. And then in later games, like you know, it gets like played with a bit. You know, you have like different like camera perspectives. I think later in this game we go into like first person as we climb through a vent as we're being chased by a murderer. And it's just like nice that it's kind of like freeform as well, you know, like it's not just like, you know, a linear narrative while it's also telling a story. So we have like these little bubbles as well that also like show what the character's like going through. Like you have no control over the text bubbles except they come up when things are triggered. So it's like as like simple as can be. The game's about like 20 to 30 minutes long and it kind of keeps like kind of unraveling further and further. And like comparing to like Steven's past games, like, you know, there's like vibes of like Space Marine with the way the pixel art is done, but also with like the coloring and the drawing, it's definitely like short, like 50 short games and everything. Everything's just kind of bizarre. Like everyone who works here is kind of like got a sheet over their head, which I think they explain as like an NDA like protocol, so that no one lets anyone else know what they're doing. And like the world is kind of just built out of like repeating textures with like these pieces of art on top of it, you know. Like, why bother spending, you know, all this time to model, like, a shelf when you can just draw one? Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me, like, do you remember, Liadh, when we used to work in Fumbly? It used to be, like, in the old Aircom building, where, like, there was all these kind of, like, disused corridors and stuff where you'd find, like, posters from, like, 2002 is going to be a great year.
Yeah.
We played it around the time we started, like, our, like, next Dreamfeel game, and there's, like, some similarities, like definitely, and it was just like kind of cool to see like how simple like this game was and how well it worked. That night I had a dream that felt like waking from a dream. Clumps of hair were growing out of the sand. I tried to pull them up and find only more hair. My co-workers were calling me further down the beach. And there's all these kind of like intuitions, like especially with the, you know, this game is like about like the world of work, you know, and kind of like call centers and that drudgery, but like later games kind of get into like the art world and like money, and then there's like a really good episode where it's a group of kids on an adventure and like each member of like your party gets killed off one by one, and there's actually like an older like Canamites game that like it kind of rips off a little bit. It's called Drill Killer, and that one is kind of just the silliness. So like this game is kind of that silliness like mixed with like the fantasy and like the art of something like Space Funeral or, you know, Magic Wand, plus kind of commentary on society. Kind of just a fever dream of all like the horror movies and all the things Steven has seen. So that's the very first one. The very first one is kind of just like a little teaser, a little glimpse of kind of what comes next, but like, yeah, you really get like the humor and just the like, you know, you can tell that the creator is having a lot of fun just making these, and like you can see how they are the creation of their process, you know? So yeah, I recommend y'all check out and play Voice of the Killer and any of the other Off the Killer games.
So they're all called blank of
Off the Killer. Yeah, all the games are Off the Killer. The second one, Hands of the Killer, is really cool, and then Drool of the Killer, there's like they're really cool. They're so good, and they're just gorgeous. You know, they're probably my favorite games ever now, but I really like them.
So the thing that I have been reading recently is the Otherside Picnic light novels. So Otherside Picnic is a series from Japan, and it is a folk horror series. You could probably guess from the title that it is inspired by Roadside Picnic and by Stalker. There is a notable scene in one of the early volumes where they like meet someone who teaches them how to throw nuts in the same way that they do in Roadside Picnic, but it kind of takes its own spin on it. Instead of being the zone kind of being a defined space in our world where things are strange, in this story it's like an alternate dimension that you can get to in various ways, which is filled with different terrifying things that are based around like creepypasta and internet folklore and urban legends and traditional folklore, and it does a really fun job of mixing them all together.
So
One of
it's
my
like
favorite things.
it's like based on like actual like internet creepypastas, yeah?
Yeah, one of my favorite things is that at the end of every volume the author has like a fact sheet where he lists like where he got all of the different things that he's using in each volume, and he'll like cite specific internet threads and stuff, which is really cool. Like, yeah, it's really nice to see that research. it's really good horror in a lot of ways. There's some really spooky moments. Like one of the ways they get to the other side is by using an elevator. You have to like push the buttons in the correct order. So you go to like the 5th floor and then the 2nd and then the 7th, and you're like moving around, and there's one floor where the door's open and you have to like hammer on the button to get them to close as quickly as possible because something starts running down the corridor towards you. And it's just like I've heard people say that the English translation isn't great. I can't read Japanese. I think the English translation is really good. If there's something I'm missing, I don't know what it is. But I think the writing is really effective. It's often very spooky. And then the main character, the characters are, I think it's fair to say that in a lot of light novels, you sometimes get quite stock characters who are like, oh, like that's an anime trope. And that's fine and fun, and I like a lot of it. But Otherside Picnic has very three-dimensional characters. Like, they feel like real people. They're very messy. They're very, like, complex. It has, like, a very slow-building relationship between the two main characters, who are both women, which is, you know, always a nice plus. And it's very realistic and well done, because they both have so much baggage. Just so much baggage. We are 6 volumes in, and they have sort of gotten close to being in a relationship, but they are still struggling with it, and you know, frankly, I'm a fan.
And is there like an end in sight for it?
It doesn't feel like it, not yet. They just released the cover for volume 7, which it's quite slow. Like, I think the author takes time to write these, so they don't come out as frequently as some other light novels. But the 7th cover has a teaser of like a character who is very important playing a big role in it, like kind of the antagonist I think might be turning up and might be important. So that's an indication that it's getting close to the end. But I also get the impression, I could be wrong about this, but I think a lot of light novels are determined by, like, their length is determined by how popular they are. So given that this has had the anime adaptation and everything, and I think it's getting a movie as well, it might drag on a bit longer. Yeah.
You said that the light novels themselves are way better than the manga or the anime, though.
I've heard people say the manga is very good. I haven't read it. Because the characters are like so three-dimensional in my head, I actually found it kind of weird to look at like anime style art of them. I was like, no, this is a person, not an anime character. That's a personal preference. So I've heard people say the manga is really good. If you like the art style, go for it. The anime I didn't think was that good. It's very condensed, and it misses out on both a lot of the like narrative horror that's in the like text, and also like just the main character's internal voice is very strong. So I think you kind of lose that when you get out of the light novels.
Cool.
But yeah.
Cool.
Bree, what you into?
Recently, I've been playing Unpacking, which is really fun.
Oh, cool. I like there's like a whole genre of unpacking games. I know that like the Little Party people made one, and also Brendan Chung and folks, but like this one seems like it's the most fully featured and like full length game.
Yeah, so you basically it's really nice. There's only a couple levels of it. It's quite short and nice to play, and you can also get on Switch. But you're just basically unpacking someone's life, different stages of their life. You start like when they're a kid at childhood. You have all the kids' toys, and then you follow them into college in their first like dorm room, and then you follow them like as they get further on, and like it's not fully a story that's told to you. It's kind of a story that you have to figure out through their life in boxes, which is really interesting. Like the objects that people have in their house, like who they are as a person from that, and like slowly like what they tend to keep in their life, what they give away, what new things they end up like bringing into their life and keeping, what kind of like who you can kind of also tell who leaves and who stays, because like she'll go into apartments that have other people's stuff in it, and sometimes you won't be allowed to touch the stuff, and sometimes you will. But it's just really nice. It's really chill. One cool thing about it is there's I think it's like over 4,000 Foley options for like you placing things on different surfaces.
I mean, that's like everything in the game is placing things down.
Yeah, so like it's just really nice. Like you could put a game controller up here or down here, and it will all have different noises to it, and it's all just very satisfying. Putting things down and arranging things. It's like a house Tetris. It's just really nice.
And like through the story, does it feel like a satisfactory journey or an interesting one?
I'd say so, yeah. Like it is as I said, very short. It's only a couple levels, but like you get the final stuff.
Do you never see like photos of the people? It's always the objects, is it?
You see very like minimalist photos of people. Like you can never really quite tell like their faces or who they are or anything. It's all like a life told through objects. So I think that's really cool.
That's cool. Yeah, it's really neat. Sweet, that's awesome. Wow. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. I love the art too. It's like kind of like a pixel art version of like the original Sims a little bit.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. My boyfriend was playing it and like offering bits of commentary to me as he was playing it, and he got to the level where you move in with like your boyfriend, and he was like, "Eve, this man is terrible."
You can just tell.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, I really want to play it. It feels like it appeals to both like a kind of found object story and also just the satisfaction of tidying things, except without the real world labor of tidying things.
Yeah. You can even like hide things that you don't know where to place. Just throw it in places, just like real life.
But you have to. Can you like dump things, or do you have to take everything out of the box?
You have to take everything out of the box. You gotta find some place for it.
Yeah. So like the things you don't want to show, it's like you hide them.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
It's really nice. Would recommend.
Yeah. It just seems satisfying, like to place things and to like open things, and no, that's so smart. And telling the story through the objects.
Yeah, so I'm talking about Elechead, which is kind of this minimalist puzzle game. You play as this little robot called Elechead, and you're basically like traversing around this space station and solving like puzzle rooms in order to progress. I'd say probably the like most distinctive like mechanic to it is the fact that Elechead can throw his head. He can detach his head and throw it to like hit switches or like just drop it and basically move around. But the catch is he only has 10 seconds or his body will explode. So it becomes this sort of thing of like trying to achieve different goals in that 10 seconds, and also like working out like the problem solving aspects of like, can I feasibly get from this part of the room to the other and back in those 10 seconds? So yeah, it's really interesting. It's like I saw it was part of the like Asobu dev showcase back in like August. I'd never heard of the game before, and they're like this group in Japan. They offer like a space for developers to make games in that space, and yeah, it's probably like a 3 to 5 hour experience. Even if you're not somebody who's like super into puzzle games or anything like that, I would highly recommend it. It's really, really good. It's super simple, but it's like, and it has maybe like 4 or 5 main mechanics to it, but it just uses them in such interesting ways that it's like, yeah, I was just kind of blown away by it. So definitely give it a shot if you want to.
So it's like a puzzle platformer, which is like a genre that has definitely got a lot of slack in like recent years for being, there's like so many and they're all kind of the same. So clearly this is a good one because it like feels really different and new.
Yeah, like there's definitely, I think it borrows elements from the genre, like the whole thing of like, you know, kind of the try and repeat sort of thing, like try something, die and then very quickly respawn, and you just kind of like, you're trying different things and seeing what works. I think it uses the best elements of that genre and utilizes them to game's sort of like benefit, I suppose. I don't think it's like a super difficult like platform or anything like that. It's not trying to like punish you or trying to make you like work out how you can get through a room like without any errors whatsoever. Like sometimes you can just kind of cheese things or like just stumble across the like how to solve the puzzle. So yeah, like I think it takes the best parts of that in that like even if you don't necessarily get the solution to something, you're never too far from like just another attempt and having another go around at it. So yeah.
And it is like levels. There's no like you only have one level at a time that you can do.
Yeah, so it's like it's one big space, different zones. There's like 6 different zones that you go through over the course of the game. As far as I can tell, it's kind of linear in that there's one way to progress through a zone and to get to the next zone. So, like, in order to do that, you have to solve the puzzles. So I suppose, like, for some people that might just be, you know, might leave them kind of like scratching their head, wondering like how to progress and then getting frustrated. So.
One thing I like about it is like, you know, it's clearly like they had a lot of fun with it. Like the characters are full of character and the blue versus yellow art style like is very distinct. And like obviously it makes like making art a lot easier when you have 2 colors, but it really sounds like, I think it seems like the yellow stuff is electrified, so it's also kind of like giving you information, right?
Yeah, so like, basically when Elechead has his head attached to him, anything that he jumps on becomes an electrified surface. So you can activate like lights or like a particular platform or whatever. And as long as you're standing on it and you don't jump, it won't deactivate that surface or whatever. But then you kind of have this thing where, say, you've got to maneuver around a space or whatever, but you have to throw your head first. So then you have to kind of like work out how you're going to get around this electrified surface and get back to your head before your body explodes. So that's kind of like the puzzle.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's like a tenner on like Steam and itch, and yeah, like it's absolutely worth it. So
is the 10-second thing ever like frustrating, or is that like the fun of it? Are you thankful for it?
No, I mean it can be, because it's like that's the trial and error part of it, is like, and I think that's what some people are going to be put off by, is like when you're, because the game also does not really offer you clues, or like it doesn't explain mechanics to you outside of these pictures that it shows you. Like it's on like these boards behind you light up and it will show you, say, like press X to throw your head, or like press A to jump, or that sort of thing. But it doesn't explain anything beyond that. There's kind of like this thing of having to work everything out, and I think some people are gonna hate that about it. But
right.
But yeah, like I think even if you like throw the head and you try something and it doesn't work out, there's such like a quick turnaround for like starting again that I think most people are kind of like whatever, you know. If it didn't work out, now you know you can't do that. So it's like, yeah.
I mean, that was like when Super Meat Boy came out back in the day, you know, it kind of took like those game design elements from like Flash games, and it was like a huge revelation, you know, and you play New Super Mario Brothers U, and it's like you die and it takes you 2 minutes to like start again. It's like you're killing me. And you play Meat Boy, and it's like way harder, but because you start instantly, it's grand, you know? Yeah, it feels like it has vibes of V, which is like one of my favorite games.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely a big inspiration.
So, last but not least, what you got, Leah?
So, what I've been into recently is I marathoned the latest season of Killing Eve. And I'm going to try not to do spoilers, but I like basically like the costume design in this show is just like so phenomenal and like integral to the whole show. So I wanted to like show you my favorite outfits of each character.
Awesome.
Yeah, totally.
And like show
that sounds great.
I love how like you can immediately tell like each character's story by what they're wearing. My little presentation. Okay, share screen.
Do you have like slides?
Yeah, I have 3 slides.
Oh, the PowerPoint.
So
that's amazing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So this is Villanelle. This is the one that wants to kill Eve. Sorry.
Yeah. Gotta get around to watching this show.
So I'll try not to do spoilers, but basically like the Villanelle's costume design throughout all 3 seasons is she has a lot of money and she has a lot of fun with her costume, and like she's also like a psychopath. So like she doesn't care how anyone thinks about her. So it's reflected in like a really fun way in the clothes. Like she's really just like wear whatever I want. Like, and no one like it also, the way she stands out, it also somehow like perfectly blends in with whatever environment she's in, which like is perfect for an assassin sort of thing. She has like disguises, but the things I'm showing here are like her own clothes. The first one like was like an outfit she wore to like a golfing course, and there was this one scene where like, or like in this outfit she has like kind of like a scary moment, and just that moment, like it really tied in perfectly. Like originally I was like, okay, this is a golf outfit, but then I was like, oh my god, she looks like a monster. She looks terrible. The outfit just, I was just suddenly like, oh my god, she's like not a person anymore. She's just like a terrifying thing. And then the middle outfit is when she appears on a bus in London, and she just like so seamlessly blends into the scene that like I didn't even realize she appeared. I was just like, oh my god, it's her. And also like there's kind of like, she wears a lot of suits and stuff like that to kind of like instill power and stuff like that. So it's great. Someone else, I think when she was wearing the green outfit, someone called her a beautiful monster. That's why I have the quotation there. And then the last one's just like a phenomenal outfit. Like she just like shows up to a meeting like that, and it's just incredible. Like there's never like an off moment. It's really exciting to see her appear.
I mean, she looks like 3 different people almost in those 3 outfits.
And these aren't even the disguises. Like she's just so good. It's such a great character. I'm obsessed with her. Okay, so this is Eve, played by Sandra Oh. So basically Eve's costumes is totally contradicts Villanelle's in every way. Very like functional and neutral and stuff like that. But as I said here, she's obsessed with women assassins, and she's obsessed with Villanelle to the point in season, she does have like really nice outfits in previous seasons, but this one, like her outfits are just pure function. Like it's like she's not even thinking twice about what she's wearing. She's just like dressing to go outside. Basically, when she first appeared, like the contrast in the characters it's so striking.
Do people still use the term normcore? Is that still a thing?
Yeah. I feel like Eve wouldn't even like know what that is, because she's just so into what she's doing.
Sure, yeah.
And someone apparently they like struggle to dress Sandra Oh as Eve because Sandra Oh is so elegant in real life that they kept being like, make her look like more like disheveled. So they were like crumpling up her clothes when she wasn't wearing them and putting them in washing machines and stuff like that to try and make them look really worn. So I was really fascinated by her costumes in this series because of that reason.
Eve would be like a really great low effort Halloween costume.
Yeah, oh my god, absolutely. And then this is another character, Carolyn, and she's a bit of a mystery character. I don't know, it's just beautifully made clothes. It's like kind of like the in-between of like Villanelle, who enjoys fashion, and also like Eve, who has like a job to do and is like really focused on the job. But like Carolyn is just like really focused on the job, but like also looking stunning all the time. And like never has like an off moment, and it's just phenomenal to like watch this
it's
show.
Casual, but it's like super tailored, very expensive casual. Yeah.
And it totally says everything about her character by looking at her.
Yeah.
So it's just like a joy to watch this show like every season, and how the clothes reflect. And I'm doing like character design right now, so it's made me really think of clothes. And that's it.
Sweet. Yeah, that's awesome. And if y'all have any other thoughts before I wrap up?
Thank you, everyone. It was really fun.
Yeah,
it was really exciting.
Thanks for watching and stuff. I hope this was also cool, and you find a couple cool games or TV shows or light novels. I've never read a single light novel. I'm like scared. Are they long? I feel like they're long.
So the word light novel, my understanding is that it refers to basically novels that only use the like more elementary or more commonplace kanji. So they only use like fairly straightforward and simple Chinese characters, but in Japanese. And so they're easy for teens to understand. And really straightforward translation of light novel would be YA novel. Yeah. And they have about the same vibe. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I know a lot of people are very into them. Yeah, like we'll just wrap it up there, and then we're hoping to do one of these like probably about like once a month or something. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for
Yeah.
watching, and
Join us for the next one.
bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye.